Bonjour, good day. I have a quick opening comment and then I look forward to your questions. We know that Canadians are right now worried about the cost of living. It's one of the major concerns on people's mind. And now we've got a cold winter approaching, fast approaching, and people are worried about the cost of heating their homes. In a time that all Canadians need some relief, this Liberal government has put forward a plan that divides Canadians, that pits regions against each other, and that is a wrong thing to do. All Canadians need relief, and we need to all be fighting the climate crisis together. And while we've got a Conservative leader who doesn't even have a plan to fight the climate crisis, doesn't even believe there's a climate crisis to fight, our plan is let's give all Canadians relief. Let's waive the GST off of all heating for all Canadians. Let's tax the record profits of big oil and gas companies like the United Kingdom has done. And let's use that revenue to help all Canadians with some of the changes they want to make, whether it's putting in better insulation, better windows, or putting in heat pumps. Let's help all Canadians this winter, and let's all fight the climate crisis together. Donc, c'est clair qu'on est dans une crise d'abordabilité. Le coût de la vie augmente et les gens ont besoin d'aide. Mais tous les Canadiens ont besoin d'aide, pas seulement une région. Et ce que le gouvernement libéral a proposé, c'est une approche effectivement qui divise le pays et nuit aux efforts de faire face à la crise climatique. Et en même temps, on a une chef de conservateur qui nie l'existence des changements climatiques. Notre plan, c'est de donner de l'aide à tous les Canadiens avec notre approche d'enlever la TPS sur le chauffage domestique, mettre en œuvre une taxe sur les profits excessifs des grandes entreprises, comme le Royaume-Uni a fait, et utiliser les revenus pour aider les gens, pour faire des rénovations éco-énergétiques. Notre approche rassemble le pays et aide tout le monde. With that, I'm ready for any questions you might have.
Mr. Miller is talking about immigration, please. He's suggesting that he would bring out a cap on new permanent residents through 2026, doing this around 4 o'clock. Do you think a cap of 500,000 people is enough to keep this country running in business and humanitarian immigrants?
When it comes to immigration levels, I think the decision we make on immigration should be based on our needs as a country, and also take into consideration whether or not we've got the resources to make sure we are welcoming new Canadians in an appropriate manner. I think about the refugees that were sleeping on streets in Toronto. That is outrageous. That should not be happening. We should make sure we've got the adequate resources and funding in place to make sure we are receiving new Canadians and ensuring that they have the resources they need so they can contribute back to Canada and build a good life for themselves. So we need to make sure we're following the expert advice around the numbers that we need to continue to sustain our economy, and also ensure that we've got enough resources to make sure that we are properly welcoming Canadians that come.
De plafonner à 500 000.
Je vais répéter ça en français et puis la deuxième question. Donc, pour la question des cibles d'immigrants, d'immigration, on croit profondément, oui, on a besoin d'immigration, c'est clair, mais on a besoin d'avoir des ressources nécessaires pour bien accueillir ces nouveaux arrivants. Et ce qu'on a vu à Toronto, par exemple, c'est complètement inacceptable où les réfugiés étaient sur les rues au lieu de dans les logements. C'est inacceptable. Donc, on doit confirmer avec les experts qu'on a une cible qui répond aux besoins du Canada, mais aussi on a les ressources nécessaires pour bien accueillir ces nouveaux arrivants.
Aux nouveaux arrivants de plafonner, de dire bon, on n'augmentera pas nos cibles, on garde ça à 500 000. Est-ce que c'est pas décevant pour les gens qui attendent leur statut de résident permanent?
Je pense qu'il y a une grande question pour particulièrement les gens qui sont déjà au Canada, les gens qui travaillent ici, qui sont des étudiants ici, et pour ces gens qui veulent bâtir une vie ici au Canada, on doit assurer qu'on a un plan pour ces gens. Ils sont déjà là, ils déjà contribuent et on doit avoir un plan pour les accueillir et pour qu'ils puissent devenir des citoyens ici au Canada. Ça, c'est une grande question et une question importante.
Mr. Singh, you've actually said that the carbon policy that the Liberals just put forward has been divisive. You've also said that they've undermined their own climate change policy. Is this enough for you to make it a confidence vote to stop propping up the government? Because these are your very strong words that we haven't heard since your comments on interference.
We want to be very clear. It's obvious that what the Liberal government is doing is divisive. They are clearly picking and choosing which reasons they want to support and which they don't want to support. And they've come out clearly and said, if you vote Liberal, you'll get help. If you don't, you're not going to get help. I mean, what could be more divisive than that? That is clear that the Liberals are being divisive, and it does undermine their approach to fighting the climate crisis. We're going to continue to use the power that we have to get action from this government. We've shown that we can do that. We've got legislation in the works on sustainable jobs. We're going to continue to push forward to make sure that happens. We've got steps to make sure life is more affordable for Canadians by bringing in dental care. So we're not going to let the Liberals off the hook. They would love to back down from dental care. They voted against it. They would love to not deliver on a Sustainable Jobs Act. They are opposed to that. We are forcing them to do things that they have not done before, and we're not going to let them off the hook.
Yes or no, will you support the Conservative motion to call for an exemption for all home heating?
We're discussing the Conservative motion in our team. We're discussing that still. I can tell you, though, our concerns are the following. One, we think absolutely that the Liberal government's approach is divisive. So we see that as very unfair, and Canadians don't want an approach to fighting climate crisis that's pitting one region against another. That's absolutely wrong. We're also concerned, though, the Liberals or the Conservatives don't even have a plan to fight the climate crisis, that they reject the notion that there is even climate crisis going on. And I've met with too many families that have lost everything because of the climate crisis that we're in right now to ignore the reality that we're up against. So we're going to discuss the approach we're going to take, but it's clear that we don't agree with the Liberals' divisive tactics. We don't agree with the climate denial of the Conservatives. We have our own path, and that's getting GST off of home heating, making sure that we tax the excess profits of oil and gas companies that are making record profits, and use that to give all Canadians a chance to bring in better insulation for their homes, better windows, a heat pump if they want, make sure that people can make the right choices, and make sure there's no barriers to making those choices.
Mr. Poilievre said we should put Canadians in an election. He said that today. Let's have a carbon tax election. So the way the government has come out with this, you say it's divisive and so on. You say you have your ideas, he has none. Is it worth going to an election over?
Well, I look at what Canadians are going through right now, and Canadians tell me that they need some relief. They need a break. I've met with so many seniors that can't get their teeth fixed, literally have worked their whole lives and can't go to a dentist, can't afford to go to a dentist. I met with Brianna, a woman in Edmonton, whose 5 kids were able to go to the dentist for the first time in their life because of the program we forced this government to bring in. I know how important that is. I want to see that happen. There's lots of work that we want to get done, and we can use the power we have to make this government act on them. We know that housing is a major concern, and we're going to use our power to make sure this government delivers on housing. So there's lots of work that we want to deliver. There will come an election, and Canadians can choose what they want moving forward. Until we see an election, we're going to use all the power we have to get help to Canadians.
Canadians struggling with their bills, do you think it matters to them?
Start again from the beginning.
For Canadians struggling with their bills, do you think it matters to them whether it's money coming off the GST or off the carbon tax? At the end, if they see lower power bills, would they be happy? Do you think it matters which source that money is coming off of?
I think Canadians just want relief, and what they want is immediate relief. And taking the GST off of all home heating is immediate relief. It can be done very quickly, and it can immediately give so many Canadians that little extra bit of relief that they need. And so that's why we're proposing that plan. It would work. It would work for all Canadians. It doesn't pit one group against another. And I think that's the right way to approach it. And that's why we've said GST off of all home heating, and let's help all Canadians fight the climate crisis together.
Le gouvernement fédéral devrait-il, comme le demande le premier ministre Legault, réduire la proportion de demandeurs d'asile qui vont au Québec et accepter aussi de soumettre les travailleurs temporaires à des tests de français s'ils veulent s'établir à long terme?
Pour la question de francisation ou qu'est-ce qu'on fait avec cette question de français, notre approche c'était on doit investir davantage pour améliorer les programmes ou accès aux programmes de francisation. Je pense que c'est important de donner des programmes et des outils et des ressources pour que les gens puissent apprendre le français. Ça, c'est notre approche pour répondre aux questions de français.
Mais est-ce que 500 000 immigrants, ça pourrait poser un risque pour le français au Canada, selon vous?
Je pense que la question de cible des immigrants, c'est vraiment une question où on doit savoir la position des experts pour savoir c'est quoi les demandes du pays, c'est quoi le chiffre pour répondre aux demandes de notre pays, et puis avoir un chiffre qui ressemble à nos besoins.
Mais pourquoi l'NPD n'a pas une position claire? Pourquoi ne dites-vous pas si c'est trop 500 000, s'il y a un risque, par exemple, le logement, l'infrastructure? Est-ce que vous pouvez être clair? Est-ce que l'NPD pense qu'il y a un risque à accueillir 500 000 immigrants?
Dans notre avis, ce n'est pas une question de, par hasard, dire oui ou non à une cible, on a besoin des experts pour vérifier, premièrement, est-ce qu'on a besoin, quel nombre des immigrants est-ce qu'on a besoin? Deuxièmement, est-ce qu'on a les ressources nécessaires pour bien accueillir ces nouveaux arrivants?
28 days left on the sitting calendar. Are you any closer to reaching a compromise with the Liberals on pharmacare legislation?
The negotiations on pharmacare continue, and the current state of affairs is that we want to see a foundation for pharmacare that is universal, that benefits all Canadians, that's public, something that's good for families. And so for the Liberals want to bring forward a piece of legislation that benefits billionaire pharmaceutical companies. That's our impasse right now, and we're going to continue to negotiate. I remain hopeful that we can get to a good point. We've made it very clear. We believe in what the Liberals' own government report states that the pharmacare plan should be there for all Canadians, should bring down the cost of medication and benefit everyone. It should not be a plan that caters to the billionaire pharmaceutical industry. That's where we disagree. Follow up? Yep.
Are you willing to meet them in the middle in any way on pharmacare?
We made our position really clear. We just don't see any excuse to make a bill that benefits the billionaire pharmaceutical industry. It should be that the laws we make when it comes to healthcare benefit workers, families, Canadians, people, not the billionaire pharmaceutical industry. And that's our big divide right now. But I remain hopeful that we can get to a good conclusion. Oh, we got to go. Sorry. Thanks so much. Merci.